Tomorrow and Friday, but we'll be back ready to fire it up next week, next Monday. We'll have Media Day, as we'll be at Media Day on Friday. Dave Van Horn and the Razorback baseball team will be having their annual Media Day this Friday, followed by a lot of basketball over the weekends. And then, Demetrius, we got signing day coming up next Wednesday. 7 scholarships it's been announced Sam Pittman has, and when you look at the roster for what he's been able to bring in with the 7 scholarships, your Coach Pittman and that staff, Demetrius, at what positions would you pretty much kind of prioritize those last 7 spots?
If it's me, I'm going defensive back. I think that's the position we have a question mark. I would probably say because I think those 2 freshmen are going to come in and those transfers are going to come in to play a linebacker. But if I had to choose anything, I would say defensive back and linebacker. Those are the 2 positions because I think every other position has been pretty much addressed. You got Felipe Franks at quarterback.
Right.
You got KJ Jefferson backup.
Absolutely.
Still got a couple of other guys on that rotation. Then you look at receiver. You still got Traylon Burks. Still got Trey Knox. I think TQ was the one that decided to transfer, so you still got Shamar Nash, if I'm not mistaken,
right.
And a few more younger guys that contribute. Then you look over at the running back. They addressed going to get 2 transfers.
They addressed the running back.
Signees
in a big way
and flipped them. So it's going to be a lot of competition in that running back room. I'm looking forward to that running back. Then you look at the offensive line. I think they really addressed the offensive line. They went and signed a lot of freshmen. Got some younger guys. Got a couple of transfers. Flipped a couple of guys. So when you look at the offensive side of the ball, it looks really good. But when you take a look on that defensive side of the ball, I think that's really where you see the insufficiencies. And if you look at the defensive line, I think that's one of the stronger positions on the defensive side of the ball. So outside of that, I think if you like I said, address that secondary back end and that linebacker, I think you have a completely, totally different identity with the University of Arkansas.
I think Arkansas. I think if I have those 7 scholarships, I think you finish. Try to get you about 2 or 3 more offensive linemen. Maybe get a defensive lineman because you can never have enough those big guys on the lines of scrimmage here in the SEC. I also think that maybe get a receiver. And try to get a couple of tight ends. If you can get 1 of the 2 that or 3 tight ends that you're actively recruiting, I think that's going to take have big dividends. But if you can get 2 tight ends in this, I think you take those with Arkansas having a lack of depth and a lack of numbers at that position. So
see, I think they can convert some guys to tight end.
Yeah.
I don't think that they have so many guys. Even if you take. I know this. I don't know if you have anybody big enough for that, but I was gonna say even if you take one of those running backs, but when you look at the running backs that we have kind of in that stable are kind of shorter guys, shorter style guys. So, but I think there's some receivers that you make and kind of convert and put some weight on and possibly transfer over to that have an athletic build tight end and go over there. But
I think the biggest position that Arkansas will notice, the biggest change, will be on the offensive line. I think Sam Pittman and that staff will make an impact immediately on the offensive line, as he's already gotten the signature of Ray Curry. I'm expected, in my opinion, to get Marcus Henderson, a 4-star under him, All-American out of the Memphis area. And also, too, I think he gets Jalen St. Paul, another 4-star who was previously committed to Coach Brad Davis at Missouri. I think you get those two. And I think, there's an outside chance that possibly Roderick Jones, or maybe there's a kid, maybe grad transfer, or someone that may sign, not necessarily on signing day, but not too much after signing day, offensive lineman that they may go out and get. But I think that's going to be the biggest impacted position that I do see in Sam Pittman's first class is going to be on that line of scrimmage. I think people will look back, and I'm with you as well, Demetrius. People will look back at that running back room, and I think Raheem Boyd is going to be, we all know, the headliner, but they're going to be able to hand it to guys like Monte Spivey. I think they're those two freshmen, Ebony and Dominic, will have a chance to contribute as well. In my humble opinion, I think the running back spot for years to come. Now, just think about that, Demetrius. You got 3 true freshmen. Running backs in Spivey, Johnson, and Jackson, and all of those guys are over 200 plus pounds. So you have to feel real good about the future going forward at that position. I totally agree with you. I think at wide receiver, I think Savion Williams is a guy, or Javen Baker, who's already committed, soft commit to Alabama, whichever two that decides that he wants to be a Razorback, they're going to take. And then at the linebacker spot, I think they're pretty well set. I just think I think they're just going to try to, with those 7 scholarships, be real selective. I like too, Demetrius, what they have done in that they're going out and giving scholarships to special teams. They're making a real big emphasis on special teams here at Arkansas. When based on what we've seen, in the last 2 years with special teams, that has to make all Razorback fans, in particular myself, being in the media and knowing how bad it's been in that particular part of that program. I'd feel real good about Coach Fountain establishing what I consider is going to be a pretty good special teams group under his tutelage.
Yeah, I think what's going to make the special teams a little better too. We have explosive guys back there. We haven't had explosive guys since Davion Warren, and then you got Treylon Burks back there. So I think now we have guys that can really make some plays and do some special things in the open field. And I think with Sam Pittman coming here, we're only getting more athletic and bigger. So I'm expecting great things, not only from the special teams, but just the total offensive package that they bring here.
Another name we didn't mention?
What's that?
At the running back spot?
Who's that?
I think this guy could be very, very special. Traylon Smith.
Oh yeah, that's my guy.
Transferred from Arizona State.
Shout out Traylon.
Last year, we will be remiss if we didn't mention this.
Shout out to Traylon. I think Traylon is going to be the shocker. I think he's going to be a lot of young kids' favorite football player next year. When you see some of the things that he's able to do with his feet and the agility, I don't think we've had a flashy back like this probably since Alex Collins. When you think it just. Because even when you think of like Riley Williams, they were downhill runners. They really weren't shifty backs. Chase had a little shake to him, but you didn't really just see him emerge the way you wanted to. But I think Treylon does have the ability to insert himself in that running back rotation and be a factor on the offensive side.
I've been watching a lot of the social media videos that the football program has put out over this their weight training program, Demetrius, and when watching this. A lot of intense weightlifting taking place, and you can just tell. We met with Sam, and by making note that our one-on-one with Sam Pittman will be putting out here within the next 24 to 48 hours. Just touching up a few things. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to like the 20-minute sit down that On the Hill and myself had the privilege of doing with Coach Pittman. I got a lot out of it, Demetrius. And I want to go back to our time with Sam. When you left that office, what was your initial thought? Having, you saw, you've been around at the initial press conference when he was introduced as the head football coach, but being in a setting as we were and being able to have that one-on-one time with Coach Pittman, what was the one main thing that sticks out to you when you think of Arkansas football going forward under Coach P?
I think for the first time in a while we have a plan. I think with just the past experiences that Sam Pittman has had, being the offensive line coach under the Brett Bielema stint, I think he has a plan for Arkansas, and it's been a while since guys have had plans outside of, hey, I'm going to recruit Arkansas, hey, I'm going to go hit Texas and try to make Texas the recruiting basis. Like, those are cliche, sayings that I think all coaches kind of say when they become Arkansas coach. But I think Sam Pittman actually has a strategic plan for Arkansas because he knows what it takes to really get them on a prominent level. And not only that, I think he has the ability to add that coaching behind his plan. I think, that's one of the key factors that to me made Sam Pittman such a great hire, that he's a proven developer, and people understand here at Arkansas, even if you do get those 4 and 5 star players, it's rare that you're going to be the LSU or Alabama or even a school like Auburn in having more 4 or 5 stars. So with that being said, you have to have that edge in player development and coaches on a across the board to really develop your team. And I think Sam Pittman, for the first time in a long time, we have guys across the board. When you look at Odom, you look at Davis, you look at the strength and conditioning. These guys come from prominent programs that are proven. So again, I think that's what I walked away with, that Sam has a vision and a plan for Arkansas, and I think it's just a matter of time until he achieves it.
I felt that, and I had known, and like I said, for the consistent viewers and listeners of our show, either by stream on the Sauced Up Radio app, or when you tune in either YouTube or Facebook live each and every day, you've always heard me for years be a proponent. I know almost to nauseum of hearing, if you were Demetrius, you've heard years and years of Sam Pittman. It needs to be the guy, and walking away from that sit down, I know that these coaches get it. In particular, this particular head coach gets it. And the one thing that stands out is Sam and his staff, and he's had the ability to recruit a staff that will have more than enough ample ability to be able to recruit the South at a very high level. And guys that gets it, they've either lived it or played it in the SEC, and I think that's going to be real big. You look at Jamel Walker, the new strength and conditioning coach. Well, he had 3 or 4, at least 3 years to prepare, in the strength room at the University of Georgia when they're going through a 3-year stretch of SEC East and SEC championship games, playing in playoff appearances, as also Scott Fountain and Sam Pittman. And then you go up to Missouri and you get a Barry Odom, Brad Davis, who's had time at Florida and at Missouri prior to coming to Arkansas. And then you go to Kentucky and you get a Derek LeBlanc. And you also you venture off and you go get a Kendall Browse, who this is his first initial season in the SEC, but he's coming from Florida State. He was at FAU. So he had 2 prior years of recruiting in the South and being able to be around those athletes, building those type of relationships. And John Cooper, who comes from UCF, a guy that's had multiple years to recruit the state of Florida. So what you've been able to do, and then Jimmy Smith, running back coach, who was probably, just 2 years ago, was the head football coach at probably the most elite program in the entire state of Georgia. So you had all that, and then you put him with a coach that coming into his first initial head coaching job, he's rated the number 3 overall recruiter in all of college football for the class of 2020. That speaks volumes for what we've been able to see here so early in Coach Pittman and that staff's recruiting ability, is how they were, Demetrius, able to flip these kids. I mean, you're flipping kids from Missouri to Arkansas, from Maryland to Arkansas. and possibly you could get them from Georgia and other spots. You can get kids to flip that are committed at other schools. And when you're able to do that, Coach Pittman said you got to be able to know how to do it, and then you got to go get them. And I think that's what this staff, that's what I took away. And I think the brand is they're going to be a tough, fundamentally disciplined football team is my biggest take.
So let's kind of flip over here to basketball. What's your take on tonight's game, and how will Arkansas fare against South Carolina?
I think Arkansas will get out of this game tonight. I anticipate Arkansas win this game by at least 10 plus. I think, they were able to get back and get that taste in their mouth of winning, here this past Saturday versus TCU. And the thing that I've always thought is this team is only going to go night to night as Jimmy Witt goes. And I'm not necessarily mean he has to go out and get 40 or 50, but Jimmy's going to always guard the best offensive player for the opposing team and his mid-range and all those little things. When Arkansas starts to get, out of sorts, Jimmy's always the one that will get the basketball and kind of pull back and get this team settled. So I think Arkansas, if Jimmy can stay consistent, and Reggie Chaney, I'm a big Reggie Chaney guy. If he can continue to bring the energy off the bench that he's been able to bring here over the last week or so, I think Arkansas is going to have a lot of success. How the bigs run, I think how Arkansas shoots. Isaiah Joe is going to be a game-time decision. I do think, in my humble opinion, that you will see Isaiah playing tonight. As I think he's a tough guy and he's a competitor, and he's not going to want to sit out. More than one or two games. I know it was killing him to sit out that initial game this past weekend, but I anticipate him to play. But I do think Arkansas will do as they've been a very dominant defensive team. I think they're going to take South Carolina out. Now, South Carolina is coming in here with some big wins. I mean, having beat teams like Kentucky, having beat Virginia on the road. So, I mean, this is a team that if you don't come in coached by Coach Frank Martin, they can sneak up on you, Demetrius. I mean, Arkansas is definitely going to have to take care of home. They've already dropped one at home in conference. And, for them to go where I think they can go with possibly getting that 6 or 7 seed in the NCAA tournament, they're going to have to, continue to hold serve at home. But I do think they get this win tonight and prepare for that road trip this Saturday in Tuscaloosa.
I agree. I think they do get this road win. I think it's going to be a scrappy one. I think Arkansas really, really needs this SEC win. They need to get one under the belt, especially with that close game last night with Ole Miss and Auburn. I think that's going to be a game that kind of comes back and haunts Arkansas. So I think they really have to get the streak going inside this SEC play, because we were talking about it the other day. How many games did they have to win within that SEC conference? And I think this is kind of one. I know that's South Carolina is in the East, but I still think this is an important win when you go into tournament play, even when you have confidence knowing that you might see this team again come SEC tournament.
Because I know, they go on quadrants, and I think as Arkansas continues to take care of their business in the non-conference schedule, when those teams get into their conference and they can take care of their business, it only helps when the committee sits around in March and they're determining where, and how people get seeded. So I think if Arkansas can continue to win these home games, I think it's going to be hard, really, for this year under Coach Mustang going forward. And for the most part, it's always been Arkansas has been a very tough place to play in the SEC since its inception way back in, I believe, 1991 was the first year that the Hogs start playing in the SEC on the basketball courts. But that's going to wrap up today's show. As I want to make a note as well, we'll be back Monday as Demetrius and myself will be out of the studio. We will, if make sure you keep in touch with On the Hill's Facebook page, as we will post a lot of live information that we'll be attaining, as we'll be at the Arkansas Baseball Media Day on Friday. We'll follow it up on Saturday evening with a lot of extra information following Arkansas's road game versus Alabama, and then we'll be back Monday. Now next week we'll have a special show on Wednesday as Arkansas will be having its first late signing period under head football coach Sam Pittman. We'll get the conclusion of all the new Hogs that Sam will be bringing to the Hill for fall camp here in a few months. But I want to make a note that next Wednesday we will try to have on a couple of Arkansas signees, maybe more than a couple. We'll just see how that works. But we will have a big National Signing Day show on Wednesday for all our viewers that want to tune in. I'm pretty sure you're going to really enjoy it, as we're going to bring it to you from the kids themselves. We'll let you tell them why. Let them tell you why they chose to be Pit Hogs. But for now, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, as it wouldn't be possible without you all. With that being said, Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Corey Beck's Custom Painting, located in Fayetteville. I mean, anything you need looking good, call Corey Beck and you won't be disappointed. Locomotion, it's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. And lastly, KDK's Chicken at 989 South Razorback Road. Get on down there and get a plate of that love. And like they say on the building, it's not your mama's, the best chicken and waffles in the South. That's going to do it for myself. But for Demetrius, also too, make a note. Here momentarily, within the next few hours, we will have our initial sit-down one-on-one with the new head hog, the pit boss, Sam Pittman, in its entirety. Our full 20-minute sit-down will be releasing here shortly, and I'm really excited. I know Demetrius is really excited, as he's put a lot of hard work into it, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy all of his labor here very shortly. But until Monday, I should say. That's going to do it for myself, for Demetrius. It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it. You guys have a blessed one. Keep on